Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here. In today's video, we're going to go over the news that Google released today about the Stadia. Let's get started. Now, before I get into anything, I would like to say, yes, I finally got a green screen. So behind me is a green screen, and hopefully that ups the production values of my videos a little bit. One of the issues that I've run into, though, is my traditional hat that I like to wear has a little green button here because they're the SNES buttons. And unfortunately, with the green screen and the chroma key, it turns it white. And not actually white. If I just duck my head, you can kind of see lettering now going through the button. So I might just have to switch out my hat for future videos. But anyways, Google dropped a whole ton of information today, and it was very interesting. So they did something similarly to the Nintendo Direct, where they dropped a bunch of information about games. They dropped a bunch of information about the system, and they also dropped a bunch of information about the different pricing tiers. And I will drop a link in the description of this video for the Stadia Connect if you want to watch it on your own. And it's also available for pre-order right now. It says no waiting for game downloads, so it's straight streaming. There is no downloading. 60 frames per second, 4K resolution, HDR support, and 5.1. This is what I really like about this. It shows exactly what you're going to get based on your internet connection. So if you have 5 megabits a second, you're really not getting anything here. I don't think. Maybe it's 720p. It's probably going to have some issues. 10 megabits, you get 720p, 60 frames a second, stereo sound. All the way up to 35 megabits a second, where you get 4K HDR video, 60 frames a second, and 5.1 surround sound. So let's have some fun. I'm just going to test my connection right now and see what it does. So it says here, your connection is great. Based on your current download speed of 124.623 megabits a second, we'll expect you'll have a high performance gaming experience on Stadia. Now, of course, this number is going to vary whether or not you're using a VPN. So right now I am using a VPN, so this number might not be the most accurate. And I really think that is going to be an initial good starting point if you are trying to figure out whether or not Stadia is going to be good for you. And one of the interesting things I saw here, it says play your favorite games without a console. Purchase the latest hit games and Stadia exclusives and play them across screens that you already own. So initially we weren't sure if it was going to be a streaming service like Netflix, where all the games are included, you pay a monthly fee and just kind of select the games you'd like to play. That is obviously not the case anymore. What's going to happen is you can purchase the game similar to Steam, similar to the PlayStation Store, similar to Xbox, where you can just purchase the game and you've got it on your account. The difference is that you don't download the game, you just stream it. So here's a games list on Firefox. It's not populating very well. I'm just going to pull up a Google Chrome browser and take a look here at the list. So looking through the list, I can see a mix of different games. There are a lot of fighting games on here. There's some simulators, so Farming Simulator 19. I can see some action games. I can see some sports games and RPGs. Now, a couple of things I would like to point out. It doesn't look like there are many exclusives for the Stadia just yet. And again, that's completely understandable considering this thing is brand new. So I can see most of these games are probably available on other platforms at this time. Baldur's Gate 3, for example, they announced it was coming to Stadia, but I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, it is coming to PC as well, and then probably consoles at some point. And I would say, based on a streaming service, the latency introduced, the fighting games are not probably going to be a very good competitive experience. And I'm strictly talking about Power Rangers, Samurai Showdown, and Mortal Kombat 11. So those are 3 games I know for a fact. If you are playing them competitively online, you're probably not going to have the best experience. If it is cross-platform, it's going to be very frustrating. And even if it's not cross-platform, I think with the latency that's going to be introduced, playing a game strictly over a browser, I don't think it's going to be an optimal experience if you are a competitive gamer. Now, if you're just playing these games casually, I think it's going to be absolutely fine. So if you just play it, just a little bit here and there online, not a big deal. If you play it competitively and are a very competitive person, the online experience, in my opinion, and this is done with zero testing, so we will have to test it out, but chances are it's really not going to hold up to a console or PC experience. And if you don't believe me, just go on any fighting game forum, on any fighting game Reddit page, and you'll see issues that people have already with existing wired connections. Now, as soon as you introduce wireless in a fighting game, some people say there's no issue, but really on a highly competitive level, there is a big difference. So I would like to point that out because most of the Stadia play will be done wirelessly, especially people playing through a Chromecast on their TV. But honestly, from a single player experience, this is probably going to be fine. If you're just playing an RPG, for example, or even a sports game or farming simulator, I don't think it's going to be a big deal at all. And speaking of the pre-order, it says start playing Stadia with a Founders Edition. The Stadia begins with the Founders Edition. Sign up and your first 3 months of Stadia Pro are on Google, and give a friend the same deal with a Buddy Pass. Get the exclusive Night Blue Stadia Controller, a Google Chromecast Ultra for streaming to your TV, and a Founders Stadia name, all for $169. So this is in Canada. In the States, it's $149, so it's $20 cheaper. And that's all available November 2019. All right, and here are the two pricing tiers. We can see Stadia Pro and Stadia Base. Stadia Pro is going to be $11.99 a month. That's Canadian. In the States, it is $9.99 a month. What you get with that is you get 4K resolution up to 60 frames a second, 5.1 surround sound. Buy games whenever you want is yes. Additional free games released, yes, starting with Destiny 2, the collection. And also Stadia Pro exclusive discounts. All right, and now looking at Stadia Base, it says coming next year. So obviously only for 2019 is the paid version of Google Stadia. For 2020, it looks like it's going to be free. Resolution is up to 1080, so you don't get the 4K resolution. Frame rate is still at 60. You only get stereo as opposed to 5.1 surround. Buy games whenever you want, you still can. There's no difference there. Access to free games released regularly, no. And Stadia Pro exclusive discounts, no. So in my opinion, this is super comparable to something like the PS Plus membership with getting the free games and some exclusive discounts and whatnot. And those are pretty much the points that I wanted to touch on. I will again leave a link to the full Google broadcast in the description below so you can see the whole thing yourself. So now the big question is it worth it, and what are my thoughts? And honestly, I don't know if it's worth it just yet. I think for a casual gamer, if you don't have a console and you want to be able to play some of these games and not make the big investment, then it might make sense. You know, the Stadia Pro actually might make sense. You get a free game every month. You can play, purchase other games if you feel like it. Now, if you already have a console, you already have a PC, I don't know if the Stadia Pro is a buy just yet. I will say the Stadia Base is very attractive at this point because it's free. And then you can maybe pick a few games that you might want to be able to play, for example, via your browser or once they completely roll it out on the cell phone. So I am very interested in the free offering coming next year, especially from a streaming perspective. So if you are a streamer, you play on Twitch or anything like that, then actually Stadia might make some sense. If you really think about it, it's less processing power for your computer. You're just streaming it. This might eliminate some dual setups that people run or people are looking into, and it might make things more attractive. I would definitely say this makes things more accessible for gamers out there. And now I'm not certain if I am going to pick up the Stadia Pro, especially the Founders Edition. I'm really on the fence. I would need a reason for me to justify that, considering I do have a console already and I do play on PC. So I'm kind of hard pressed onto whether I actually have a reason to get Stadia Pro or the Founders Edition at this point, but Stadia Base for sure. Absolutely. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't like the video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Thank you, everyone. Take care.